Kumba Iron Ore was listed in its present form in 2006 when the iron ore assets of Kumba Resources were spun off to shareholders and is 65% owned by Anglo American. It supplies iron ore to the local and global steel industry, mostly from its major mine in Sishen. It has a market cap of 158 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 10.5 and a dividend yield of 8.3%. Looking at Kumba Iron Ore, Paul, we know that some of the workers are on strike right now, so affecting production at that.
Yeah, look, it's crazy. There were like 300 workers out of 12,000 that were off. And as you know, the workers at Kumba benefited from a share trust. And the average distribution to the workers last year was about 500,000 rand. So with those kinds of benefits, I'm sure there are about 25 million South Africans that would like to be Kumba employees.
Indeed.
So those 300 better not stay off work for too long. Having said that, I mean, the bigger issue really is the environment for iron ore sales and pricing at the moment is just a little bit tricky. And I think that's why you can see the share price has been dancing around there, a little bit volatile lately.
What do you make of Kumba right now, Mark?
It's always been one of our sort of most favorite businesses on the JSE, and it's very much their lump is very specific in that it's got a very low moisture content, so the Chinese really like it. But you know, if you look at where iron ore prices were a year ago, average quarter on quarter were around $180. Now they're sort of hovering around $100, and volumes have fallen. So in the first instance, I don't think that their forward rating, their earnings are going to be anything near what the market expects. They have moved up the cost curve, and now these 300 employees that are striking have blocked access to the pit. So they're unable to produce iron ore, which has caused them to declare force majeure, which means they cannot deliver iron ore, which is one of the reasons why we've also got Mittal in the show, in that it feeds directly into what's happening at Mittal. So I think, you know, for me in the short term, I think it is slightly overvalued. I think it does have a very strong dividend underpin. The one thing that does concern us also is that they're going to be doing expansion in West Africa, which means they're going to be needing to put a lot of cash into that expansion with Anglos. And I think the dividend could be under pressure. And also with Chris Griffith, which is the CEO, we moved to Amplats. I think, you know, he's really strong management. So we actually would be preferring Amplats at this point in time to Kumba. So.
Paul, when you look at that Kolomela operation in the Northern Cape, looking to ramp up production, what do you make of that operation?
That's the reason why the share price has gone from where it has to these elevated levels. I mean, if you look at that chart, you can sometimes get a bit deluded, but really we're talking about a move from around 150 Rand a share to over 500. So it's one of the big cap success stories. No, look, I'm extremely positive about them. The reason being they are expanding production. And at the end of the day, what the market likes the most is a company that is selling something that the world wants at firm prices, and it's expanding its earnings power year after year because of the physical expansion of the mining operation. Anglo owns 65% of it. Anglo, we know, needs cash. It needs cash at Amplats, it needs cash in Brazil, just needs cash everywhere. So they'll continue to suck cash out of Kumba at a very high rate, hence the dividend yield will be very good. I know a lot of people are anxious about China, but there's still like 300 million Chinese people that are moving from the rice paddies to Shanghai, and they've all got to live in houses and drive on roads and, you know, get power from power stations. So my own view is iron ore prices are going to be fine. Kumba's a great stock, it's a great story, and definitely think you should continue to accumulate them. I don't think the management team is key here. I think the management team got famous because the company did well, not the other way around.
What do you think about that last comment, Mark?
Well, to me, it's one of the only mining companies that delivered consistently their new rollouts of production, you know, within budget and generally before the time that's set. So they always, you know, under-promised and over-delivered. And most mining companies, you know, they give you a budget and a timeline. And, you know, if you look at Anglo's other operations, be it the Minas Rio in Brazil, the iron ore, the budget's blown way out. It's very much delayed. So I think, you know, if I look at Chris Griffith, where he came from, which was through Amplats, and he really was instrumental in getting that business back on the right track. And then in my mind, you know, he did very well at Kumba. I agree that it is one of those businesses that now tends to almost run itself, and that the culture is very strong. And the actual, like, you know, if you take a look, included in that run in the share price is an amazing dividend yield. You know, if you bought it at 150 Rand last year, you got almost a 60 Rand, 50 Rand dividend. So, I mean, think about it.
You want to say something, Paul?
You know, one final point. At Amplats, guys with string vests and underpants go down underground with a rock drill. Whereas at Kumba, it's like the side of the mountain. You just put a scoop in and you take it out, put it on a truck, put it on a train. Open cast mining, a lot easier.
Hot or not for you then, Paul?
No, I like it. I think it's hot. I know some people are anxious about all of the things I mentioned, but for me, it's hot. I like it.
Mark, hot or not?
No, until I see stimulus out of China and I see iron ore prices start to really recover, because Kumba has moved up the cost curve. I think in the short term, no, long term, we definitely buyers of Kumba, but I want to see the results in December. Unless I see a recovery in the next quarter, we're happy to stay out of it.
So not hot.
Not.